The world is witnessing a potential shift in global power. Turkey and Hungary, two European nations, are looking eastward, towards BRICS. BRICS, made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is attracting attention for a reason. This isn't just about diplomacy. It's about frustration with the West and a search for new alliances. Turkey is a NATO member. Hungary is in the EU. Their interest in BRICS signals a challenge to the established order. Countries are no longer content with traditional alliances. They want new partnerships for their future. This moment forces Europe to reflect on its unity and influence in a changing world. The decisions of Turkey and Hungary could ripple across the globe. Why does this matter? Because it reveals cracks in old alliances that have shaped global politics for decades. The world is watching as these two countries consider a pivot that could reshape international relations. It's not just about two nations, it's about the shifting sands of global power. As we explore their motivations, we uncover a crucial chapter in modern geopolitics. The stakes are high for Europe and the future of global cooperation. Turkey and Hungary's interest in BRICS is rooted in history, driven by frustration and shaped by ambition. It's about feeling left behind by old friends and seeking new opportunities. This is more than a headline. It's a story about the future of global alliances. The world is watching, and for good reason. BRICS began as an idea, not a formal alliance. In 2001, an economist coined BRIC for Brazil, Russia, India, and China, emerging economies set to reshape the world. The group's first summit in 2009 marked a new platform for cooperation, aiming to balance global power beyond the West. South Africa joined in 2010, making it BRICS and adding an African voice. BRICS members want more trade, investment, and a stronger voice in global forums. They created the New Development Bank as an alternative to Western-led institutions. Together, BRICS nations represent over 40% of the world's population and a major share of global GDP. Their collective weight gives them leverage and makes them attractive to other countries. In 2024, BRICS expanded to include Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, Egypt, and Ethiopia, boosting its influence. This expansion signals openness to growth and a broader coalition of non-Western nations. Countries like Turkey and Hungary see BRICS as a dynamic, growing organization with new opportunities. The world is taking notice. Turkey's relationship with the EU is a story of hope turned to disappointment. Turkey applied to join the EU's predecessor in 1987 and became an official candidate in 1999. Years of reforms followed, but membership talks stalled. Concerns over human rights, population size, and cultural differences slowed progress. From Turkey's view, the EU kept moving the goalposts. Frustration grew as enthusiasm faded, replaced by skepticism. Turkish leaders now openly criticize the EU for double standards. In 2024, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said, "We have been waiting at the EU's door for 60 years. We are now looking for new alternatives. The dream of Europe has soured, pushing Turkey to seek new partnerships." Interest in BRICS is a direct result of this stalemate. For Turkey, BRICS offers a chance to reclaim autonomy and pursue its own interests. It's a potential new beginning, aligning with powers that may be more welcoming. Turkey's pivot is about forging a new path beyond the unfulfilled promise of Europe. Hungary's story is different, but echoes Turkey's frustration with the EU. As an EU member since 2004, Hungary under Viktor Orban has become a rebel within the bloc. Orban's Eastern opening policy seeks closer ties with Russia and China, challenging EU unity. Hungary's interest in BRICS fits this strategy, prioritizing sovereignty and economic interests over EU norms. Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó confirmed Hungary is exploring cooperation with BRICS, defying Brussels. This move gives Hungary leverage in disputes with the EU and signals a desire to act as a bridge between East and West. Even the suggestion of BRICS membership highlights deep divisions within the EU. The global political climate has become turbulent, driven by protectionism and trade tensions. US America First policies pressured allies and created instability in global commerce. Long-standing partners like the EU and Japan faced economic threats from their closest ally. This pushed nations to diversify partnerships and avoid overdependence on any single power. The COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine exposed the fragility of old alliances. Countries now seek resilient, diverse relationships for stability and opportunity. BRICS, representing a growing share of the world economy, has become an attractive option. Turkey and Hungary feel squeezed by the West and see new possibilities in the East. In this complex environment, BRICS offers a valuable alternative. For many, diversifying alliances is now a necessity for survival and prosperity. The search for new friends is reshaping the global order. As of late 2025, Turkey and Hungary's interest in BRICS is making headlines. Turkey's foreign minister openly expressed a desire to join BRICS during a visit to China. Russia and China responded positively, signaling openness to expansion. China sees BRICS growth as a way to boost its global influence. However, India and Brazil remain cautious, wanting to protect the group's core principles. The West, especially the EU, has responded with concern, warning Turkey that joining BRICS could further strain relations. For Hungary, any formal move would trigger a political crisis within the EU, so Budapest is treading carefully. Both countries are testing the waters, sending signals to East and West. The next BRICS summit in Russia will be a critical moment. The world is watching to see if these ambitions become reality. If Turkey, a NATO member, joined BRICS, the geopolitical impact would be huge. It would challenge NATO's unity and force tough questions about alliances. Economically, Turkey could gain new markets, but risk its EU trade ties. For the EU, losing Turkey as a close partner would be a blow, shifting regional dynamics. Hungary's inclusion would show even EU members are seeking alternatives, emboldening other Eurosceptic governments. This could fragment the EU's unity and effectiveness on the world stage. BRICS expansion would accelerate the shift to a multipolar world, rivaling the G7. International institutions would become new arenas for competition. The rest of the world would face more choices and more uncertainty. Navigating alliances would become more complex than ever. Experts see Turkey's interest in BRICS as part of a broader dissatisfaction with the current world order. Dr. Leslie Vinjamuri of Chatham House notes that countries want greater strategic autonomy, not just economic gains. We're moving away from rigid alliances to more flexible issue-based partnerships. Turkey is a NATO member, cooperates with Russia, and now eyes BRICS. This is the new reality. Nations will pick partners based on specific needs, security, trade, or technology. This makes diplomacy more complex but also more dynamic. The West can no longer take its partners for granted. The EU's long stalemate with Turkey has created a vacuum for others like China and Russia to fill. To maintain influence, the West must offer a more compelling, inclusive vision. The rise of BRICS is a challenge, but also an opportunity to reform and build a more resilient global order. The future will be defined by competition and the necessity of cooperation. Gains for BRICS aren't always losses for the West, but they are a wake-up call. The world's institutions must adapt to survive. The possible shift of Turkey and Hungary toward BRICS is more than a diplomatic move. It's a sign of a world in transition. The Western-led system faces its biggest challenge yet, not from adversaries, but from within. For Europe, the stakes are high. The EU's unity and influence are on the line. Hungary's and Turkey's interest in BRICS exposes deep fractures in the European project. If the EU can't remain attractive to its members and neighbors, its global role will shrink. The rise of BRICS could lead to rival blocs, each with its own rules and spheres of influence. This fragmentation could make solving global problems, like climate change or pandemics, much harder. A divided world is a more dangerous and less prosperous one. This is a call for reflection. What kind of world do we want? The choices made now will shape generations to come. These shifting alliances are about the hopes and ambitions of billions. The future isn't written yet. It depends on the wisdom of today's leaders. The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher.